So now travel through the alimentary tract. On Monday, we finished at the point when food just left the esophagus here. Okay. Through the cardial orifice here. It's an orifice that is controlled by the gastroesophageal sphincter, right? So the food just went through the orifice and ended up in the stomach. Stomach, although being kind of a sac, okay, does, and you pretty much, if you take the stomach, you won't be able to see the differences. That make sense? You see what I'm saying? Like you look at the human skeleton, you see parts. You look at the human lung, you see lobes. You look at the human heart, you see different chambers. You look at the stomach, it's a bag. Okay, but turns out it has certain anatomical parts. The part that is closest to the gastroesophageal sphincter, part that receives the food first, is called cardia. As we already figured out, it's sort of a misnomer, because we thought somehow it belongs to the heart, but it doesn't. Okay. This part, upper part, is called fundus. Slower part, until that pretty much dashed line, is body. You have to appreciate, though, that in the real stomach, there's no dashed line on the wall that. So, go into the possible anatomy question. I may ask you, which part is this? And you must tell me, dude, that's the body. Okay? But I will never put something like here and ask you, is that a body or the next part? Which is called pylorus. I wouldn't do that. Okay, I will be very exact in what we'll look at. So fundus and body functionally very similar, but I'm going to keep the suspense, so I won't tell you how similar they are and what the similarity is. Let's say that these parts are the main parts of the stomach that participate in digestion, in digestive processes. Which two types of digestion we talked about so far? So mechanical and chemical. Okay? So they are the most important parts for both. Right? Then you have this big pylorus. Pylorus is the part of the stomach. Let me remove all that drawing here. That pylorus, the part of the stomach that serves as the entry to the duodenum, the next organ. Okay? Pylorus can be further divided into the pyloric antrum and pyloric canal. Now, before we get to the very last thing, you look at this picture, and you may wonder, what is the basis of that division, anatomical division between the cardia, the fundus, the body, the antrum, pyloric antrum, and pyloric canal. What do you think? It has no apparent difference, right? It has no visible boundary. No ligaments, no bones. What would be the anatomical feature that would let you to tell apart the, say, huh? No. What I'm saying is what. So you look at cardia here, right? And you look at body. So, not the skin, but in there. Type of cell. So microanatomy is different. Does that make sense? Cells. So cells that produce those secretions are different. Right? So that's why we can separate them. Again, the separation is not exact. It's not like between the esophagus and the stomach, where you can say, remember we looked at this, and we saw the moment when epithelial cells of esophagus, stratified squamous epithelium, ended, and columnar epithelium started. Does that make sense so far? Now the stomach culminates in another sphincter. It's a pyloric sphincter. So those sphincters essentially are the doors. The doors, yes. I just came up with a thought that is going to haunt me till the end of the day, and I'll share it with you. You're going to be haunted by that idea. Think about traffic lights. They work like sphincters. Right? They stop the traffic, then let it stop. It's a sphincter. Now you will not be able to think about anything else when you approach the traffic light. That you going through the sphincter. Okay. Now the gastroesophageal sphincter here controls the passage of food. Let's still call it food. It's just easier. It's still kind of sort of food. From esophagus to the stomach. Pyloric sphincter controls the passage of not food anymore. It's called chyme or kim from stomach to the duodenum. That makes sense? Okay. Now those are major parts of the stomach. If you would look the wall of the stomach, you will see those folds. Okay, these folds are called rugae. We will. You see those lines? They represent folds. Like you take a bag. Okay. Make it in a. Hold it in your hand. Yes. Rugae. Those are folds. Okay. Like when you smash the piece of paper. Okay, in your hand. Right. That makes sense. And then you stretch it out, and there are no folds anymore. There's a mistake in that. So the folds obviously appear when the stomach is empty. And actually, when it's empty, it looks like an empty bag. It's almost flat. Okay, it's not a bubble. It's almost flat. It stretches out and gets in. There's a mistake technically, anatomically. This picture is incorrect. Right? You see why? No. The stomach is what? It appears to be distended, stretched out. So if it's distended, there should be no folds. But otherwise, the artist wouldn't be able to show all the features. Okay, so appreciate that. Now, that's the word that I want you to get acquainted with. You know that word already. Distension and distended. When we refer to the parts of any hollow organ can change its volume like stomach. We often say stomach is not stretched, stomach is distended. Stomach distension. Over distension. Okay? That's when people start to vomit. That's why kids sometimes do that when they overeat. By the way, that's an interesting thing just to chat about. This sphincter doesn't work properly till the age of about 7-8. So if you take like 1-year-old and turn it like this, everything that was just taken in will fall out. Quite literally. It will just go out. Because the sphincter doesn't close completely. And I personally remember when I was playing with my nephew, who was 6 or 7 at the time, and we were kind of fighting. And he was sort of on top, head down. He faced me. I was lying on the floor. He faced me and said, "Don't do that. I will throw up right away." It was a good thing that he told me that. He still had, turn him over. It's not because of the bad food. It was just leak out of him. Okay. And for kids, throwing up, it's not a big problem. Yes.
Does that have anything to do with like when babies spit up? Is that like the same kind of?
That's a reflex. It's so easy for them because they overate. I'm going to give it back to the mother. Okay. And it's easy for us. The gastroesophageal reflex, the food that moves out of stomach back in the esophagus, it has to go through the really tiny hole. The esophageal sphincter doesn't open up that much, unless we vomit. By the way, that's the disease that we didn't talk about, gastroesophageal reflux, right? We did a little. We talked that, irritation of the stomach may cause it, increased acidity. Anything that stimulates the stomach activity can promote reflux. Even exercise. Because you just move stuff in your abdominal cavity. That makes sense? Just that sometimes makes you uncomfortable. The problem. So, what do you think is the main problem with gastroesophageal reflux? Gets. So what? Yes. It's not. It's not supposed to be there, right? Columnar cells of the stomach protected against acid. The epithelium of the esophagus is not, and actually, there's some evidence that esophageal cancer may be the consequence of chronic gastroesophageal reflux. So think about that. Now, the stomach, the structure of the stomach wall, as pretty much any other part of alimentary tract, it has four layers: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis, and serosa. And if you would go back, I think like third or fourth slide, and look at the generic structure of alimentary canal, structure of stomach doesn't differ that much. Mucosa is all you can find. Simple columnar epithelium. Now, do you remember what is the kind of generic function of the columnar epithelium? Two things. Secretion and absorption is not so hot in the stomach. It absorbs a little bit of lipids, just tad. Okay? But yes, in this case, a lot of secretory activity. Make sense? And layer of so-called lamina propria. You see the white stuff? That's where the blood vessels are. It's loose areolar connective tissue. It's pretty much loose areolar connective tissue is pretty much everywhere. So it's in lamina propria. You have a thin layer of muscularis mucosae, thin layer of smooth muscle cells that help with the peristalsis and fine changes in shape of the mucosal layer. Question?
No, it just looks pretty much like you said, exactly the same as.
We're going to get to one difference. Okay? Submucosa. Bigger blood vessels and nerves. Okay? That submucosal plexus that regulates both secretory activity and smooth muscle contraction. Then we get to the layer that is called muscularis externa. Regularly, generally, how many layers of smooth muscles are in the muscularis externa? How do we call this? Circular and longitudinal. Well, stomach has three. It has circular and longitudinal, but deep to them, it has oblique layer, which is at an angle to both circular and longitudinal. Okay? It's kind of, this is longitudinal, this is going to be oblique. Does that make sense? Three layers. The reason for that? you can mix better. If you just think what happens in the stomach, the food, we discussed it already. Food in the stomach. If you ever vomited, you know how it looks. You kind of can tell what people ate. You ate just a few hours before. Okay. So it's still pretty rough. Right. So that those pieces have to be mechanically broken down. That's what stomach does. It churns it. It is actually a churning. Yeah, it churns it. Okay? By contracting all those three layers, food is moved. And actually, interestingly enough, the food in the stomach is moved in sort of a circular fashion. Like this. Okay? So it goes this way, then goes back this way, and back this way, and back. Okay? That's what we call turning. Okay. And also the muscles, that muscular layer, there's a plexus, like two plexuses, submucosal, and this one is called myenteric. Enteric, just the general for digestive system. Remember, MY? My stands for muscle. It's in the muscle layer. So both submucosal and myenteric plexuses control digestive activities. The stomach. Myenteric mostly controls the mechanical part. Submucosal mostly controls the secretory part, the chemical part. Now this plexuses, which part of the nervous system they belong to, which part of the motor nervous system they belong to. Somatic or autonomic? Autonomic, right? You can't just move your stomach. Okay, it is involuntary control. I want you to understand that these plexuses, either myenteric or submucosal, they are both connected to the CNS, to the spinal cord. But at the same time, they can generate responses locally. Does that make sense? So what would be let me finish with cirrhosis, boring connective tissue series secretions, so stomach doesn't rub against other organs. Okay, we got cirrhosis out. Good. Now, going back to signaling. What would be the stimulus? What would be the sensory input in the stomach? Presence of food in the stomach lumen. Does that make sense? What happens to the stomach when food gets in there? It distends. And what else happens inside of it? It will start. Chemistry of the stomach changes. Right? Food consists of chemicals. That's an eye opener. It's all chemistry. Okay. So when you throw those chemicals into hydrochloric acid and some other stuff in the stomach, the composition changes, and you have chemoreceptors, and they respond to it. Does that make sense? So always think in terms of the mechanical stimulus from the food and chemical changes. Does that make sense? We'll get to the chemical. Now, this is your again. We get to this. So this is your sensory input. It will be sensed by let's say the plexuses, and it will produce what kind of response? Either mechanical, so muscles, or chemical, right? Secretion of stuff. Glands. Again, you look here at the bottom. The schematic representation of a reflex arch. Does that make sense? There you go. You see? I mean, when I say plexus, Can it go all the way to CNS?
CNS?
Sure. When I eat, I know that something is in my stomach. When there's some problem in there, I'm pretty aware of that too. So I know I can control other parts of my CNS, but I reasonably cannot consciously control. But this sensory inputs go both to the local plexus and to the CNS. And CNS will produce the response. That makes sense. Okay, we'll get. I really want to focus on this because if you get this, you're never going to get lost in physiology of the digestive system. So the entire regulation is based on the presence or absence of nutrients. So epithelium. What we can find there? You can find mucus cells. You see mucus cells, right here, closer to the surface. Produces mucus, like goblet cells. Okay. This mucus is thick, physically thick, like gooish. Huh? Probably so. Yeah. So mechanical protection. Because think about those pieces of apple that go in the stomach all the time. They're pretty rough. Okay. And it's alkaline. So cells of the stomach do not get extensively damaged by the acid. Does that make sense? So kind of covered in the alkali. Those epithelial cells here, they are attached to each other by the gap junctions. So if those are two columnar cells, there's going to be gap junctions here, which means nothing gets in between, right? Because you definitely don't want digestive enzymes and acid spill over into the lamina propria and then into the underlying layers. Right? Now, this crevices in the stomach called gastric teats or gastric glands. Those are synonyms. Okay? Gastric glands and gastric teats are synonyms. Those glands, gastric glands. Well, first of all, what do glands do? Like secrete. Okay. So those guys are endocrine or exocrine? Exocrine. Overall exocrine. We will see that some cells actually have endocrine function. We'll get to this, but they produce gastric juice. Okay. All those cells in the gastric glands produce gastric juice, which has a lot of chemical components. Now, this epithelial cells, actually all of those epithelial cells, despite being protected by mucus, they still have to survive in pretty harsh conditions. Does anyone know what is the pH in the stomach? I don't think I ever talk about it in the entire thing. I'm not going to ask numbers, but what is the pH? If you just ate without starting four, at the peak of digestive activity, you can go like two and a half. I think about 5% hydrochloric acid. Something like that, about 2.5. When you vomit the stomach content, your teeth feel weird afterwards. Not only teeth. I'm not saying that everything else is all right, but your teeth feel weird because of the acid that starts to break down enamel. That makes sense? So it's really acidic. Just for the comparison, Coke is also 2.5. And if you ask me the question, can you drink hydrochloric acid? Yes, I've done that. Not voluntarily. But yeah, I accidentally ingested some. The worst thing was the mouth feeling. It was horrible. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Other than that, I felt perfect.
Does that feel like damaging to your esophagus and stuff?
It went down very quickly. It will probably be, but we were mouth pipetting. I was mouth pipetting hydrochloric acid, and somebody started to talk to me, and I did this. It was not a lot. It was enough. It was really unpleasant. But yeah, it's going to be damaging. But that percentage won't be like awful. Okay. So we talked about mucus cells, about gastric glands. Now let's figure out what secretes there. We're going to get to the anatomical differences between the parts after we figure out what the cells do. So you're going to have so-called parietal cells there. Parietal cells are the ones that produce hydrochloric acid. And that's a pretty awesome process. But they do it. Okay. It's probably the most specialized, the most differentiated cell in the body. Okay. Now, why hydrochloric acid is so important? Well, it breaks down stuff. First of all, not completely, but in Chinese restaurants they make this interesting soup, which is really acidic. And they break eggs into it. I don't really know. I mean, I tried it once. It was so acidic. Okay, but pretty much when you break the egg, try to break the egg into the vinegar. Egg will change. Denature. Protein will denature. So hydrochloric acid denatures proteins, making them more susceptible to the enzymes, digestive enzymes. It creates proper pH at which digestive enzymes work better. Just chemically, trust me, proteins and fats are better hydrolyzed in an acidic pH. Okay. And a lot of bacteria that get inside, they can survive in that condition. That makes sense? Parietal cells produce the protein that is called intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is required for binding and absorption of vitamin B12. That is actually an interesting story. So vitamin B12, people who don't have it enough, don't receive enough vitamin B12, develop a condition that is known as pernicious anemia. Vitamin B12 is necessary for dividing cells. And it affects, of course, mostly the fast-dividing cells, fast-replicating cells, like cells of the bone marrow that produce red blood cells. So those people develop low levels of red blood cells. When I don't ask me the history details, but kind of the story of discovery goes as far as I know. First, vitamin B12 was identified as the underlying mechanism. The deficiency of B12 was identified as underlying mechanism for pernicious anemia. Well, if you know that people don't get B12, what would you do? How would you treat it? You give them, you'll stuff them with vitamin B12. Guess what? It didn't help. Because it helped some people who didn't get it enough with the diet. And it's really hard. Because we need it in such a small quantities. You pretty much get it with food if you like meats. Okay. But some people you could bots in vitamin B12 wouldn't help. I don't really know the train of thought of those physicians. They decided somehow to give people pretty much the homogenized cow stomach together with the vitamin B12. And it helped them. Turns out, if people don't have intrinsic factor, they're not gonna absorb vitamin B12. So they may have all they want in terms of quantities, but nothing will get in. Does that make sense? I think it's pretty awesome. Chief cells here, they produce the precursor. The end, it's not yet enzyme. It's a pepsinogen. When you see the gen at the end, pepsinogen, it suggests that it generates pepsin. And it turns out when pepsinogen gets activated by hydrochloric acid, it becomes pepsin. Now pepsin can then break down proteins. Does that make sense? So far? Mucous neck cells. They here produce acidic mucus. Why the hell are they doing that? We don't know. They just there. We don't know why they're doing that. I mean, we know what they do. We don't know what the purpose that mucus is. And finally, enteroendocrine cells. So entero means digestive. Endocrine means where do they release their secretions? The endocrine. In the blood, yeah. Remember we talked about secondary endocrine organs. Organs for which endocrine function is not the primary function. That's an example. Stomach produces hormones. Being egotistical bitch produces hormones that regulates mostly its own activity. Doesn't really care about anything else. Okay. Now, wrap up. What do you have to know there? Cells. Okay. Mucous cells. Well, it's kind of obvious what they make. What is the function of chief cells? What is the function of parietal cells? And we'll get to the function of the enteroendocrine cells. And believe me, we will talk about the roles of hydrochloric acid, pepsin, chemical digestion, way more. Okay. Now we figured that we have a number of cells that produce different components of the gastric juice. Now let's go back to the anatomy of the stomach and look at the parts. I tried to highlight it as best as I could. So black are cardia and pyloric canal. Green is pyloric antrum. And red kind of collectively fundus and body. Are we on the same page? Good. If you would look at what those parts produce, cardia and pylorus produce mostly mucus. So they have almost all epithelial cells and mucus cells. Now, if you have only mucus, there are a lot of digestion. Only mucus. No hydrochloric acid. No, not a lot. Look, this food just entered. It didn't even take off the shoes. Okay? And when the digested food in the pyloric canal, right before it enters the duodenum, it's kind of a little late to start digesting. At this point, all you want to do is to pass it over to the next stop. Another reason, think about what is the role of mucus? To move, to lubricate, yes. To protect, right? It is alkaline. So at this point, you want to kind of neutralize acid, so it won't affect esophagus. At this point, you want to neutralize acid, so it won't affect duodenum. That makes sense? So it's entry, exit. At this point, there's not those 2 points. There's not much digestion going on. Now, if you would look at the fundus in the body, you're going to find everything there. Does that make sense? You're going to find cells that produce hydrochloric acid, cells that produce pepsin, all those components of gastric juice that actually do the digestion. Right? That makes sense to you? That's where your digestive activity is going on. Now, pyloric antrum. Mucus, yes. But also gastrin. And it turns out gastrin is one of the most important, if not the most important hormone that regulates the activity of the stomach. And those are the hormones. And sorry, those. It was supposed to be really pretty with rectangles over certain groups. It's not pretty anymore. Kind of screwed up, but we can do it anyway. The gastrin. So let's look at its effect in the stomach. This proof statement increases secretion by gastric glands. What does that mean? Increases, that's fancy. Increases secretion by gastric glands. What does that mean? What type of activity? Chemical or mechanical? Chemical, right? So it increases chemical digestion. It promotes the release of hydrochloric acid and pepsin. Does that make sense? The more hydrochloric acid and pepsin are released in the stomach, the digestion of food, is it going to happen faster or slower? If you produce more, faster, of course. Now think about this. Let's look. So food gets broken down. Right? When gastrin is being produced, food gets broken down in the stomach. What would be the stimulus for gastrin? If food gets broken down. Food. Yep. Food in the stomach. Exactly. Right? Now. Well. When you're gonna get bored by the time we finish digestive by that constant mulling over. When food gets in the stomach, what happens to the stomach? It distends, and what happens to the chemical content? It changes. So you're gonna find some fragments of proteins, okay? In the stomach. Fragments of proteins from the food. Those chemicals will stimulate gastrin release, signaling, hey, food is here. Okay. Then gastrin will stimulate the stomach cells, the epithelial cells, like chief cells, and parietal cells to produce pepsin, hydrochloric acid. You can actually, if you want, we can quickly get it over. So food, okay, stimulates gastrin. Okay, gastrin stimulates chief and parietal cells, and chief will release pepsin, and parietal cells release hydrochloric acid, and not that food will be gone. No. I mean, it's not like you have empty stomach and it just evaporates. No. Food will be broken down further. And what's the next stop after the stomach? No, not blood yet. Duodenum, huh? Small intestine, duodenum, right? So when we say there's pretty much barely any absorption. Absorption happens in the small intestine. Okay. So when we see the term gastric emptying, where is it empty? Into the small intestine. So gastrin stimulates stomach to get rid of food. Right? Not only this. It also stimulates other parts of the digestive system. It stimulates contraction of the smooth muscles in the intestine. And those contractions, where do they drive food towards? And from large intestine towards anus, right? So what happens? I'm not going to show it. So there is another sphincter, valve between the small and the large intestine, like this. This is called ileocecal valve. When gastrin is released, small intestine starts to move food downstream. Valve opens. Whatever is left here in the large intestine goes towards the sigmoid colon and towards the rectum. Okay? And you defecate. You can see it when you take a large meal. Well, a significant meal. I'm not saying an apple, but like a good dinner. In most cases, you have an urge to go to the restroom right away, or shortly after. That's gastrin for that. It stimulates the peristalsis of the entire alimentary tract to free up space in the large intestine and in the small intestine, right? Because food's coming. Does that make sense? That's gastrin. Another hormone that's produced, and before we move to ghrelin, the place where it's produced is caloric antrum. Makes a lot of sense. When partially digested food moves circles through the stomach, every time that bolus of food, that pressure, that wave reaches the antrum, it stimulates the muscle activity, which push the food towards the pyloric sphincter. This is something we'll talk about. Just the problem with the intestinal tract is that it's also connected. Those hormones have many effects on different organs. It's really hard to talk about intestine or stomach being isolated. So now look, every time you have a wave, quote unquote, hitting the pyloric antrum, muscle activity in the stomach will push some of that. It is now called heme. Some of that heme towards the sphincter, and a portion of it will move into the small intestine. So you have to appreciate that. Say I am gulping down good burger. Okay, it's a pretty big chunk of food. Say I don't know, a quarter pounder. Okay. With buns and everything else, it's probably going to be almost a pound of food. Doesn't mean the entire pound of food in one move goes into the intestine. Actually, volume of heme that goes through the pyloric sphincter once in a while. It's about 3 milliliters. It's one third of a teaspoon. Very little. Really little volume. And we'll chat why. What is the advantage of moving just 3 meals every time? Okay. So the whole emptying of the stomach, 2 to 3 hours. Okay. It takes a while to get through. Ghrelin. When you don't have anything in the stomach, you feel hungry. That's ghrelin. When stomach's empty, ghrelin is produced, you feel hungry. It works at the level of hypothalamus. We talked about ghrelin before. Do you remember the hormone that does exactly opposite to ghrelin? Leptin, yes. So ghrelin makes you hungry, leptin makes you full. Not makes you, but gives you feeling of being full. And they actually signal to the adjacent structures in the hypothalamus. And Structures that are stimulated by leptin are inhibited by ghrelin and vice versa. Okay, so the opposite. Histamine. It's produced by ECL cells in the stomach. It indirectly responds to the food presence in the stomach. In fact, I'm going to put the parentheses here. Gastrin stimulates histamine. So you see, food in the stomach, gastrin, histamine. Histamine directly stimulates glial cells to produce hydrochloric acid. What else does histamine do? Another thing that is involved in allergic reactions. Very good. So the old generations, the first generations of medicines, allergy medicines, like Benadryl, had two effects. One related to CNS. You all know that. If you want your baby to sleep well on transatlantic flight, 2 spoonfuls of Benadryl will not hurt the baby and will benefit everybody else on the plane. Okay, that actually our physician told us that. Well, come on, give him some Benadryl. It's going to be fine. So it makes you sleepy. The reason for that, it penetrates better the blood-brain barrier. New drugs, they don't go in the brain that well. But another thing that side effect in the list of 5 most common side effects, it's on the number 4 or 5. Constipation. If you have drug that inhibits histamine, what's going to get inhibited? Hydrochloric acid, right? So digestive activity in the stomach is going to go down. When it goes down, the entire system kind of goes down, and constipation. You really have to put some effort into drugging yourself, but you can do that. It's a side effect, valid side effect. Serotonin. Trust me, it is there. I know. You have a green line across it. Stimulates the muscle contraction. We talked a little bit about serotonin. It's pretty much the amine, the hormone that is a relative. It's actually a precursor of melatonin. Serotonin is produced from tryptophan, and it also controls the mood and the sleep and stuff like that. Remember? Drugs like cocaine inhibit the serotonin uptake, so you feel happy. Prozac does it as well. Okay. So serotonin is the stimulus for smooth muscles to start contracting and moving the foot. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, somatostatin. What is another name for this hormone? GHIH, yes. Right? Growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Turns out it pretty much shuts down all gastric effects. Right? Because if you don't grow, you don't need the resources for growth. If you stop growth, you don't need resources for growth. Okay? Now sympathetic stimulation contributes a lot. And you can see, look, presence of food in the stomach as well. Why the heck is that? Well, you have to appreciate that in the process of regulating gastric activities, you can't have only stimulatory hormones. You gotta have both. And the ones that dominate at the time, the effects will dominate. If production of gastrin dominates at the time, there's a lot of food in the stomach, and there's going to be a lot of digestion. Amount of food decreases, gastrin production will decrease, somatostatin will start to take over. Okay. And also duodenum. produces it. And we'll talk about how the duodenum regulates the stomach activity. You may have a question. What exactly do you have to know out of this list? And I will tell you this. For gastrin, the answer is simple. For gastrin, you have to know everything on the table. I may ask everything. Cells that produce it, where they are located in the pyloric antrum. What are the effects of gastrin on the stomach? Small intestine, large intestine, ileocecal valve. You must know that about gastrin. Okay? Because this is the most important regulatory hormone. Okay? Ghrelin. I don't really care about the source. I care about effects. And the only effect that pretty much you have to know is that it stimulates the sense of hunger. Acts on hypothalamus. Histamine will chat about it. Direct stimulation of peripheral cells. Direct stimulation of hydrochloric acid production. I don't care much. No stomach mucosa. For somatostatin, all you have to know is that it has a reducing inhibitory effect on the digestive activities in the stomach and in the small intestine. Again, I don't care much about the source. That makes sense? Oh, I think somebody is playing drummer on the other side of the wall. Okay. So far, we're going to take a little, after the break, we're going to pull out the microscopes and look at the slides. Okay. My favorite one, chemical digestion in the stomach. There's a lot of chemistry here. I know you're going to hate me for that. So which two components, okay, 3 components of gastric juice actually do chemical digestion? You don't have to name all of them. First and foremost, HL, yeah, hydrochloric acid. Okay. We also already encountered another one, the P word, pepsin. Okay, there's third one, which is gastric lipase. Well, kind of easy, it's written what it does there. Breaks down fats. Lipases break down fats. Okay, so we have 2 enzymes here, pepsin and gastric lipase. Okay, we have chemical. Okay, you following me so far? Let's talk about chemistry first. I can't wait. And then regulation second. Does anyone feel a little bit, how to say, mind-boggled by the picture? Overwhelmed? Yeah? Don't be. I will try to make it simpler. There is a reaction in the human body that allows the body to produce either acid or base. Okay? Now, when we say acid, which ion are we specifically talking about? Hydrogen, okay? So we need the reaction that would give us hydrogen. I'm sorry. I need probably to go lower than that. Okay. Hydrogen. Okay. There's one chemical that is constantly present in a human blood, in a human body, everywhere in a human body, in extracellular fluid, in the cells, everywhere. There's a chemical that is kind of acidic. Not kind of, it's actually, it can make acid. Chlorine by itself, by the way, doesn't. It's hydrogen ion that makes acid. Carbon dioxide. So we have to start with carbon dioxide. That's the only chemical in the human body. Well, the most abundant one that's the easiest to use to make acid. But to make acid, we need to mix carbon dioxide with something. What is another chemical that is overwhelmingly abundant in the human body? 60% or 65% of human body is that chemical, huh? Water, yes. So we have to combine carbon dioxide and water, right? When they are combined, they form carbonic acid. Okay? Now that first step, formation of carbonic acid, is really slow. And I wouldn't say it's slow, it's just awfully inefficient, just horribly inefficient. But let me tell you something. What is the normal pH, like neutral pH? 7. Now the water that you get from the faucet, even distilled water, do you think it's basic or acidic or neutral? Well, you'll measure. It's acidic. Slightly. So we talk about 6 and a change, but acidic in ADOI. CO2 in the air. That's enough to make it slightly acidic. CO2 gets dissolved in the water, making it slightly acidic. It's not going to like dissolve your teeth or something. It's really, really, really weak acid, but it's still acid. So this is weak acid. This process is inefficient, so to make it faster, to make it more efficient, it is catalyzed by the enzyme, which is called carbonic anhydrase. That's the full name, carbonic anhydrase. Okay? Then acid, carbonic acid, dissociates, breaks apart, and that's a very fast process. Into the proton and bicarbonate ion, HCO3 minus. You have a lot of bicarbonate ions in your kitchen. Baking soda, yes. So if you like, now, I bet everybody done it. Vinegar, baking soda, you put them together. Essentially, what you do in this case in the kitchen, you put acid and baking soda together, making carbonic acid, which now dissociates to water and CO2, and it's bubbly, right? In the cell, we have an enzyme that kind of holds the entire process the opposite way. Does that make sense? Now, we figured this is acid. This is acid that this is. One is acid, another one is base. This chemical reaction, we'll see it on several occasions through the course. Depending on what you need, you can use acid and get rid of the base, or vice versa. Does that make sense? So what happens in the stomach? We obviously need acid. Now, back to the picture. Knowing that reaction now. CO2, the largest, probably largest depot of CO2. You know the word depot, right? Storage. Depot, okay? The largest storage of CO2 is the blood. CO2 diffuses freely. It's a small nonpolar molecule, so it diffuses freely through all the cell membranes from the bloodstream into the parietal cell. There's plenty of water, combines with water, forms carbonic acid. Carbonic acid dissociates into the acid and the base. In this case, you need acid. So now this is ion. Can ions cross the membrane simply? No. Why? Ions, are they polar or non-polar? They're polar. Of course, they charge. They can't go through the membrane. So they either have to diffuse or being actively transported, being pumped. Now, what is the normal pH of the cell? Ballparkish. Normal pH, human pH. 7.4. Again, can deviate a little. 7.4. Depends on what we talk about, like which part can be slightly changed. But if cell is 7.4, it means it's neutral. It's even a tad basic, just that tiny bit. What about stomach? What is the pH in the lumen? You just said, well, 4. So it's a lot of acid already. So if you have to transport somehow to move hydrogen ions into the place, there's a ton of them. What would you use? Diffusion or active transport? Active transport. You have to go against the gradient. Does that make sense? In this case, the potency of that active transport is unimaginable. In some cases, it can overcome like 10, 100,000 times difference in concentration. It's really huge, okay? Now, protons can be transported on one condition. Potassium will go in. It's in type order, okay? Bicarbonate. At this point, in this cell, bicarbonate is considered to be a junk. We don't need it anymore. So if we have junk in the cell, where do we get the junk, the waste? What is the ultimate garbage truck for the cells? Good thinking. Never thought of it. Well, that kind of garbage. Lysosomes cannot do anything to bicarbonate. What collects all the chemical waste and takes it away from the cell? Blood. So we gotta throw it into the blood. So you have that in type order, chloride ion gets in the cell, bicarbonate gets out. It's actually convenient because then chloride can be pumped into the lumen of the intestine. Does that make sense? It's kind of nice. The most important part that I want you to understand, really, I'm going to test you on that, I guarantee that, is everything that's dealing with CO2, water, carbonic acid, hydrogen ion, and bicarbonate. Okay? You may not know potassium and chloride, but you have to understand that, say, if we stimulate parietal cell activity, hydrogen ion is pumped into the lumen. If I try to tell you it is diffused into the lumen, it diffuses into the lumen, tell me bullshit, it cannot. Okay? Same goes actually for bicarbonate. It cannot diffuse into the blood. There's a ton of bicarbonate in the blood. It has to be transported. Does that make sense? This is chemistry. This is like the hardest chemistry. Okay. Now that's parietal cells. So if you think about this, we were talking about, so this part of the text is all about parietal cell. This is about chief cells. That's it. Pepsin and gastric lipase. Now, pepsin breaks down pepsin breaks down what? Proteins. Gastric lipase, fats. Does anyone remember which two nutrients we break down in the mouth? Carbs and fats. So lingual lipase in the mouth breaks down fats. Amylase breaks down carbohydrates. Stomach breaks down proteins and fats. Turns out different nutrients getting destroyed, different parts of the alimentary tract. Now, how do we regulate it? So when parietal cells produce hydrochloric acid and chief cells produce digestive enzymes, which part of digestion will increase, will kind of get more active? Chemical, right? So chemical digestion will break down food. What is the stimulus for that secretion? Good, food. Food in the stomach, right? First, food in the stomach. Mechanical stimulation, such as distension. Chemical stimulation, just change of chemistry in the stomach. We'll work through the local reflexes, okay, and through the vagus nerve. Remember, vagus is the one of the cranial nerve number 10, which has both sensory and motor activity. So the input, okay, will go through the vagus nerve to the brainstem, and the output will go back to the epithelia of the stomach. Now look what happens here. Well, first, there's few ways to do that. One, gastrin gets stimulated. It is released from so-called G cells. Okay, it's easy to remember. Gastrin, G cells. And it goes in the blood. You see, systemic circulation. Through the blood, it reaches so-called ECL cell. ECL stands for enterochromaffin-like. Don't worry. ECL is what I asked for. ECL cell. ECL cell produces histamine. And histamine in turn stimulates parietal cell to release hydrochloric acid. Does that make sense? Okay? So far, so good. If we want to put it in the way of like a pathway, it will be like food, okay? Let me change the color. Gastrin, histamine, acid. This chain of events lacks something, some component. You know it. Exactly, negative feedback. If you don't have negative feedback, what's going to happen to your stomach? It's going to dissolve and you're going to die. It doesn't sound really sexy. So you got to have introduced negative feedback. What would exhibit negative regulation? Say again? Okay. Yeah. But it's kind of an external factor. It will, but I gave you everything. Huh? Okay. Lack of food, that's one, right? Not just stop eating. Food should be gone from the stomach. Does that make sense? So if we get rid of this, secretion will drop right away. What else? It is all about food living. It's all right there. It's written there. Something will have inhibitory effect on the entire thing. Huh? Bingo. Acid. Does that make sense? Of course, it's not like the first molecule of hydrochloric acid hits the floor, everything shuts down. There's certain degree of acidity when it's going to happen. Pretty much if it's like 2.5 or 2, gastrin production will automatically shut down. Does that make sense? It's like if acidity increases so high that it becomes sort of dangerous, digestive activity will stop. Actually, it's kind of it. So if you gulp down Diet Coke with that burger, if I would, I would actually slow down the digestion because I would shut down the intrinsic, the gastric juices produced by the stomach by immediately increasing acidity in there. Does that make sense? Sorry. Right? Please understand this negative feedback. We either have to get rid of food, or just acidity itself will shut down the gastrin production. I promise. There will be question or two about that regulation. Okay?
The food exiting, is the stomach completely empty, or is it?
No. That's actually, we're gonna chat it, but that's pretty short, okay? So that's mechanical digestion. So you see how food goes forward and then backward. Every time the wave, so-called mixing wave, approaches the pyloric valve, okay, that stretch will open the pyloric valve, or pyloric sphincter, it's the same, okay? And a little tiny bit of chem, where's the word? Okay, chem. A little tiny bit of chem will be let through the gates. Think about this as like when you have people coming into the nightclub. They don't let everybody in, okay? Or like attractions, right? Like when you have like a roller coaster. You don't just let people jump in the cars and take off, you know? They tell, okay, now you can go. Free space. Same goes here, okay? Just a little bit, so it takes time for the stomach to get completely empty. Does that make sense? Now, the regulation from the intestine, I'll give you a little glimpse and we'll go back to it after the break, but think about this. When the chem enters the duodenum, the two effects actually. One that I listed here, it decreases the digestion in the stomach. Pretty much, in a simple way, think about duodenum as the next production step. So it receives the little bit of food and says, dude, wait. We need to deal with this. We need to deal with this 3 milliliters. We need to break it down completely, and we need to absorb it. Then we're going to deal with the next 3. But at the same time, presence of food in the duodenum, in the very short term, will stimulate gastric emptying. So the food actually passes through. It's just like for, I don't know if it's seconds or minutes, but for a very short time, come on, give me some chem, and then now stop. Now calm down, I need to deal with it. We're going to talk about different stages of regulation for gastric activity next, but now let's take a break, and after the break, immediately we're going to kind of